I have no idea why I'm doing this. I know I shouldn't, but man, here goes nothing. After a recent trend of videos from me where I do the cardinal sin of sharing your opinion, I thought we should clear the air. Instead of justifying my opinion, I'm just gonna make a however long video purely on my opinions. And screw you if you think I need to justify an opinion, since we're all entitled to our own as long as they aren't dumb. If I could just back it up with some solid thinking and evidence, who are you to get mad at me for it? You could disagree, sure, go ahead, but to get mad at me because I said your favorite driver wasn't that impressive? Grow up, man. So I'm assigning you all homework. If you are to engage in discussion in the comments below, please be civil for everything that holds this earth together in these trying times across the world. The last thing we need are two doofuses defending actions from their two favorite rich men. And by all means, share your hot takes as well, since I just want this to be a safe space for sharing opinions. Feel free to disagree and argue with evidence, but if you're gonna disagree and be an ass about it, just leave, man. No one needs you here with your negativity. For something as trivial as sports debates, I swear to you, we do not need you fighting with everything you have on your opinion. This isn't politics, this is literally sports debates, no stakes whatsoever. So with the intro disclaimer out of the way, let's go have some fun and learn more about each other by sharing our hot takes. As my hot takes progress, they will get hotter and hotter, so I hope I'm special enough for that to even matter. So go join the Discord to engage with the community and subscribe if you're new if you love talking. So enough yapping and let's get to quacking.
A good weather for a race, but especially for a talk.
Hot take number one, George Russell and Charles Leclerc are the only drivers who could contend with Max for a title. Now, putting aside the teams, I think these drivers are the only ones who could realistically fight with Max for a title. Now, I know what you might say. What about Lewis? He already did it. Yeah, you are right, but I'm talking currently. Unfortunately for Sir Lewis, I think his best days are behind him, and while he is still a mighty fine driver, currently, I think George and Charles are the only ones who can truly do it. Because Lando and Oscar needed their car, and hell, sometimes that ain't enough, but when George and Max or Charles and Max have equal cars, man do they give us a show. Literally last race, the Mercedes and Red Bull cars before Max had his issues were similar in pace, and George just did him easily. Same thing in Canada, which by the way, Max had no issue that time. Plus there are countless Max and Charles' duels that I could make a whole video out of, so I don't think this one's a hot take at all. Right now as it stands, if in 2026 George, Max, and Charles all have cars and teams able to compete for the title, and of course they're all comfortable in said car, I think they could give us all a show and all equally have a chance to win it all. Hot take number two, Max Verstappen is one of the most naturally talented drivers in history. This one should probably be the first hot take I have, but whatever, we all know this. There are some who think Max is all money and heritage and not talent, and we call these people special, my dear. I'm convinced Max can hop in any car and understand it from the jump. Setting aside his sim racing, Max just understands cars in a way not many people do, and it's always fascinating to see. Literally right now, he is proving that with his endeavors in sports cars and eventually the 24 hours on Nürburgring. Max is just so good, and I don't know how anyone can deny it. So you know what? Swap the hot takes 1 and 2 around. This one was the coldest take of the video. Hot take number 3. These current F1 regulations are among, if not the worst in F1 history. I say one of and not the worst because I haven't seen enough of every regulation, so I don't know how they compare. Obviously, a jackass would say the 1950s cars were the worst because they had no wings, but get real. These regulations have big tires that die away so fast, floors that if they even get a pebble's worth of damage will become completely useless, and worst of all, too much downforce and thus too much dirty air. Basically, everyone is miserable watching these cars, and any benefits they may have had were just not worth it. Let this be a lesson in Formula 1 to never ever use ground effects again, because while they make for fast cars through the corners, man, it's not worth it. I just hope and pray next year's cars are good, because I can't take another few years of dull racing with cars that just can't follow each other. Hot take number 4. Oscar Piastri is overrated, but still good. Now let me clarify. I think Oscar is a mighty fine driver who has amazing qualities. For starters, his overtaking game is some of, if not the best on the grid, since it's that right balance of hard but fair, risky but safe. He is also very adaptable and could learn any skill given the time. Really, he is a solid driver that 100% deserves everything he has and will get, but let's stop pretending he's some flawless driver. This guy has his issues, mainly with pressure, since in 2023 it was fine since there was nothing on the line. However, in 24 in the later parts of the year, he was getting absolutely done by Norris and couldn't really compete with him. mostly. And in 2025, pressure is potentially getting to him since he has now had 3 races in a row where shit has gone wrong for him and he was just slow. Plus, he's not the fastest guy on the grid. I mean, shit, Lando is faster than him. It's just that Oscar is way less susceptible to pressure and is more consistent. None of this makes him a bad driver. To me, he is a solid 7.5 to 8.5 driver, which to most makes seem reasonable and good. But for some reason, man, some guys think he's like a 9.5, 10 out of 10 driver. And I don't know if it's just me, I don't see it, but I swear to God, if I catch flack for not liking Oscar enough, then I will go crazy. Do not test me. Hot take number 5. Hard racing is okay sometimes. I say sometimes because it does reach a point eventually. For me, going over the limit would be something like Mexico last year with Max, since yeah, it was for the title, but come on, this is just lame, man. No two ways about it. However, good old hard racing with a little bit of wheel banging and going off circuit, come on, don't be a pussy. You know it's peak. Hard racing allows the drivers to go balls to the walls and show everything they have. In 2021, when Lewis finally stopped letting Max bully him, I was so happy since yeah, Silverstone was a bad execution, but Jeddah, man, come on. That's a Lewis we haven't seen for a while. Same with Brazil. And speaking of 2021, Max Verstappen to me is the epitome of hard racing since he just gets it, man. Of course, Mexico last year, but most of the time he races to the absolute edge and it's just sensational to watch. It does not platform bad racing ideals, it platforms bad racing ideals in F1, which is different. F1 has so many strict rules in racing that, in my opinion, make things more dangerous. If a driver needs to go off track, let them fight off track instead of trying to stay on the same piece of tarmac and take someone out in the process. Other motorsports are way more looser with their racing rules, to not even an unfair point, just a more reasonable point. Literally, during Singapore, there was a sports car race at Hockenheim that was electric, and all I'm saying is, if this happened in F1, they will be crucified for dangerous driving. Hell, look at Charles Leclerc. There were genuine dummies who said that Leclerc's move on Russell and Zandvoort was bad and dangerous and shouldn't be overtake of the month. Excuse me? When do you ever see an overtake like that ever in F1? Just because it's not the same robotic DRS overtake doesn't mean it's crazy dangerous or whatever. Let the drivers race, man. It gives us the best quality of racing and obviously penalize the deadcut moments like again, Max in Mexico last year. Hot take number 6. The gap in talent between drivers in different series is not as big. The main argument I see for this is that F1 is simply too fast for some, and you know, there are people like Brendan Hartley who sucked in the sport even though they were awesome elsewhere, but historically, this is not the case, and in fact, it's ex-F1 drivers who struggle in moving series. Kimi Räikkönen had his hand in NASCAR but was swiftly showed the door. Jenson Button, while not bad, hasn't really been super amazing in sports cars. Romain Grosjean was just an average driver in IndyCar, so why do we forget about these guys? The reality is, F1 drivers are not all saints who could grace any car and win in them. Those drivers are instead called talented. Max Verstappen is proving to us that he has the talent, and while Lewis has never competed in another series, he has proven in private events that he has a feel for many cars as well. Same with the Kamui Kobayashi across WEC F1 Super Formula, Fernando Alonso, WEC F1, IndyCar IMSA, Sebastian Buemi, even historical guys like Graham Hill. The reason some perform better in other series like Formula E or WEC or Indy whatever and not F1, it's not because it's a reason like talent. Some just can't drive certain cars and just can't understand their machinery. Nick DeVries, as we know, sucks super hard in F1 but is a natural in sports cars. That's not because the driver talent pool is low enough for that to be the reason. It just means DeVries, at least when he joined, couldn't get a feel for his car. It happens, but just because they are bad in F1 doesn't mean they are bad drivers, and a lot of drivers in different series, I imagine, would do quite well in an F1 car. Just not Kyle fucking Larson. Hot take number 7. You don't know the drivers, stop defending their every action. Now this may come as shocking news, but the drivers don't know you specifically exist. The drivers are very private and more importantly, very rich, which means they 100% have something you will disagree with them on. Whether it's Lewis's past behavior or Lando's inflated ego, all of these drivers will have something you don't like about them, and eventually when the drivers have something bad about them come out, don't defend them and get all parasocial. The reality is, even when one of them has something bad come out about them, they won't care. Know why? Because they're rich. So why are you defending someone's bad actions when they themselves don't care? You should instead criticize, pressurize them into speaking in some form instead of allowing them to get away with it. And even if they don't ever mention it, at least you did the right thing. Lance Stroll was photographed hanging around known Zionists and IDF soldiers, and I would be very disappointed in you if you couldn't see the bad thing in that. Charles Leclerc had negative views on BLM and the idea of kneeling at the national anthems. Lando Norris is a known sex pest, with many models confirming this. Oscar Piastri killed his girlfriend on Valentine's Day in 2013. Wait, that's Oscar Pistorius. Even my favorite driver, Checo Perez, has made misogynistic comments, not to mention he literally cheated on his wife. Every driver is guilty of being a dickhead with money, so why are you parasocial about your favorite driver defending their terrible actions when they just don't care about what they say or do? If you were a real fan of them, you would criticize them, since I'm sure if Horner was a driver, people would have defended him in the Horn Dog Files. Hell, some people do, even though he was never a driver. Hot take number 8. F1 still aren't doing enough in the sport for inclusivity. In the past 10ish years or so, F1 has done so much for people of color in the sport along with women in motorsport. However, I am noticing that these things are starting to either withdraw or take new shape that is bad. For example, with women in motorsport, the sport is focusing too much on the driver's girlfriends to the point where they are starting to become romanticized and the main focus of women in the sport, when in reality, I see this as a step back. Women in motorsport's main draw shouldn't be traditional relationships, it should be leadership positions and driver roles. The season started great too, with lots of attention and appreciation for people like Laura Muller, but now all you see is Lando's girlfriend and Charles's girlfriend. I don't think it's a bad thing to showcase them, don't get me wrong, but I'm noticing it's starting to take attention away from the women in motorsport who hold high positions and excel at them. In these times currently, I think it's a pretty bad thing to only highlight women in the sport as girlfriends or supermodels or some other traditional stereotype instead of actual leaders who are shaping futures and pathways. Like I said, it's okay to highlight the driver's partners, but don't take all the attention away from the leaders in the sport is my point. And when it comes to highlighting people of color in the sport, I dare you to find a post from F1 media, not the team's media, that highlights any one of them. See, it's hard. I genuinely fear that once Lewis retires from the sport, they'll either continue dragging his name and likeness well after he's gone instead of highlighting new voices, or they'll just stop highlighting voices entirely. And I'm not even saying that they need to hire people of color differently to other people, just show they exist in the sport at least, and the pathways they took, so it can inspire others in the world to follow their lead. This is why my respect for Mercedes is high, since they do both of these things, and it's an effort that should not go discredited. Hot take number 9. The F1 community is one of the worst sports communities out there. Now, before you get mad at me and call me a backstabber or whatever, I don't mean you. If you're a normal person who isn't racist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, and all the other phobics in the world, then I love you and you're cool. However, my goodness me, you would be surprised how many pieces of shit there are in this community. I mean, for starters, and what I think is the biggest and most widespread issue in the community, racism and misogyny. Lots of fans of the sport are extremely racist in my observation, since anytime a driver who isn't white from Europe or the Americas does something, they are labeled with some derogatory term. Checo does bad? Oh no, he ate too many tacos and the cartel will kill him. And that's the extent of my example, since I'm not even gonna try and wiggle around my way with some of the heinous things said about Lewis, Gabby, and even people like Hadjar, who is French with African descent, which is all these races need for their slander. It's really ridiculous, and anytime you try to call out these dickheads, they'll just say it's a joke, it's not that deep, it's only a sport. But by continuing to speak like that, all they do is normalize such language to the point where people will feel justified in using these horrible terms for the sake of passion in the sport. Then the other issue is misogyny, since yes, I hate all the attention drivers' girlfriends get too, but to actively call them stupid or brainless when some of them are smarter than you will ever be, it's absolutely uncalled for. You have actual idiots who look at these races and the terrible TV direction that only focuses on the drivers' girlfriends and blame the girls, not the idiots directing. What are we doing here? Plus, there's also all the quote-unquote jokes that the community throws around about female drivers in motorsports, since anytime one of them crash, it's always, this is why women shouldn't be drivers. But guarantee you, I could play a clip from British F4 or something where everybody crashes, and just because I say it's F1 Academy, no one will check to see if it's actually F1 Academy. They'll just see horrible jokes about women and laugh at it instead of actually checking what they are seeing and not being a dickhead. And who cares if the drivers crash in F1 Academy? They crash in every fucking series, yet when men crash, no one is on Twitter saying this is why men shouldn't be drivers. There are so many issues that I didn't even mention here, like all the homophobic jokes that people make about Ralph Schumacher, soccer, or the blatant Islamophobia that's being normalized in the sport, or the ableist jokes that have been normalized for a while now. And the biggest culprits of all of this becoming a thing are other F1 creators and YouTubers. I won't name names, but people need to be more mindful of their platform because while it may start out as a genuine joke, will get people to turn genuinely racist or another horrible thing. It starts with a laugh, and then saying it's not deep, and then downplaying the anger, and then normalizing the language. And I fear a lot of F1 YouTubers are the reason why this sort of harmful language is normalized. Call me too woke, I don't care, go fuck yourself if you have an issue. Something I think we can all agree on though is that aside from all the harmful shit in the community, everyone is so unfunny here as well. It is 2025, nearly God's destined 2026. Why the hell are we still saying 5 seconds to Ocon or Alonso rookie? Please grow the fuck up. The final hot take, number 10. F1 is one of the worst motorsports out there. Now I know some may see me as a backstabber or a rage baiter considering I am an F1 YouTuber, but I'm serious. F1 is extremely overrated, and anyone who doesn't give other motorsports a try is simply a fool. Now I like F1. I like that this is the peak of engineering and they truly have the fastest cars. Some of the best motorsport moments come from F1, like the qualies or the rare chance there is good racing. But that's the thing, you can't use the argument that F1 is meant to be boring because it's an engineering competition. F1 is a sport, hence a form of entertainment, and kill me in front of my family if I'm wrong, but I don't think 50 laps of 14 overtakes total is fun. And it's a shame too, because I know this is an unoriginal opinion, but no motorsport comes close to F1 when F1 actually has good racing. When F1 has a race where we have a battle for the lead, it's just pure eye porn. That's why 2021 was such a magical year, not because it was Lewis v Max highly anticipated title fight, but because every race, like a good 90% of the season, was so damn good. We had fights for the lead in almost every single race, with many being decided in the final 5-ish laps or so. In 2021, no sport on the planet came close to F1, and I would say that first half of 2022 as well, before Ferrari killed itself and Merc forced the class to turn in their homework. Plus, even in years like 2010, 2012, 2007, F1 was so damn good. But of course, as we know, post 2022, the racing has been shit, which is why I say F1 is one of, if not the worst motorsport out right now. If you're an engineer or aspiring to be one, then this likely doesn't apply to you, but for the casual sports fans or even the passionate ones, this is a terrible sport currently, since these drivers need to manage so much, and a lot of it is down to regulations. Tires are slimmer and bigger, brakes are trickier, floors are more complex. If even one of these things are slightly damaged, then it's race over and you have zero chance to do anything anymore. So I'm hoping that with the return to the floor designs from 2021 and the new engine stuff for next year, F1 can once again be a good motorsport to indulge in. But for now, F1 is a very shit motorsport, and I beg you, please go watch other forms of racing. So those are my F1 hot takes. Now I hope my words from the intro can hold some weight, since the last thing I want is a war zone in the comments. A big part why no one likes the F1 community or why it's so hard to join is because everyone refuses to take criticism or refuse to hear anything bad about their favorites or themselves. There's a difference between passion for your favorite and being a dickhead, so please, for everyone's sake, don't be a dickhead. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for the continued support. Make sure you join if you want cool benefits, as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your hot takes are. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.